What's going on, everybody? This is the Racket Guru here, and today I'm going to take the time to review a racket that I have fallen in love with. I've already demoed it twice, and I just keep going back to it because it's so spectacular. This is the Head Gravity MPXL. This is an extended length racket from Head. This is the only one I know that they have for the Gravity, and it basically is it's the perfect racket, in my opinion. I don't know if anybody else would say the same, but if I could switch to any racket and keep it stock, it would be this one. So without further ado, we'll get into the review. So we're going to start off with ground strokes. Groundies with this racket feel incredible. I don't know if it's the Auxetic that's in it, but it doesn't feel like any other Auxetic frame that I've tested. It has a bit more feedback to it. The feel is a bit crisper, and it doesn't feel muted. Like when I tried the Gravity Pro, and it was just boardy, muted. The MP was too lively. The speeds, they're too muted as well, and it just feels like you lose the ball in the string bed. That wasn't the case for this. This had just such an exact feel. You knew exactly where the ball was in the string bed, whether it was off center or right smack dab in the sweet spot. You knew exactly where it was at all times. On the forehand, you could add a whole bunch of spin, not extreme spin like you get with like a pure arrow or with a V-core or any other spin frame like that, but you could put enough spin on this to really decrease that margin or increase your margin for error when really swinging out on balls. If you wanted to flatten out your shots, I mean, you could really penetrate the court with this. And I think that versatility is what makes this frame great. With the Gravity Pro, everything had to be flat. With the MP, it was hard to flatten shots out because it would sail to the fence. This feels like a perfect combination of both. It has the extra 10 grams. The static weight on this is 305. Swing weight is at 333. The extra half inch really makes a difference. I've only ever used an extended racket once, and this was just it's an experience. If you've never tried an extended racket before, I highly recommend trying one, especially this one, because it just gives you so much variety. Backhands felt great on this, and with the extra half inch, I mean, my hands were in the perfect place every single time. Even if I was just a little bit higher, I'm still on that handle, and it's perfect. It whips around so fast, and it's extremely stable from the baseline. You're able to pick up balls and take it. You'll take balls early. You're able to play great defense with this. I don't think I struggled when it came to playing defense, even if it was a bad shot. It's so forgiving with the 100 square inch head and the tighter, well, more like medium spaced 16 by 19, because it's not super tight in the string bed, and it spaces out a whole lot as it goes towards the edge of the frame. So I think all in all, I mean, this is just, it's an amazing racket to play from the baseline. Next, I'm going to, now coming up to the net, getting to the net, this racket can do it all. Slices, drop shot, you can create opportunities with this racket. You can knife slices with this thing as an approach, or even just to slow the game down, you can add in a floaty slice. But I really enjoyed the backhand slice on this. It really lends itself to just being so stable that the racket doesn't twist in your hand, and it absolutely will send that ball with just as much power as you give it. It really works with you when you're trying to come up. Then once you're at the net, you're in heaven, because the racket is still maneuverable enough at the net to put balls away. It has enough in the head, enough weight in the head, that you're actually absorbing that impact, and you can drop the volley if you wanted to, or just do some short angle volleys. I can't think of another racket besides the RF01 Pro that I just recently reviewed that has that same feel and that same volleying potential to really just do whatever you want with it. And it's actually so much easier to swing, especially on overhead. Some rackets, like the RF01 Pro, feel so cumbersome to swing over your shoulder But this racket, it feels like it's an extension of your hand. And I can't give this racket any more praise than I am giving it, just because it does everything so well. It's not particularly overly controlled where you're trying to put things behind the ball, or you're trying to put a lot of force behind the ball. It basically puts out a little bit more than what you put in, and it makes it work for you. It's hard to miss with this racket as well. Even if you have a flatter play style, it still adds a little bit of spin to bring that ball down. It's an incredible frame. With volleys, especially on the forehand volley, I mean, you're able to just put so much on it and do whatever you want. It pockets the ball so well that you can hold that ball there, and it just feels like you're just holding it like this, and you're just like waiting for somebody to move, and then you just throw it wherever you want to, or if you just want to just roll it off your fingertips. That's what this feels like. And I really think that this could be one of the best rackets out there. Now we've come to probably one of my favorite things about this racket, is the serves and returns. I'm going to start with the serves because the only thing that I've ever been saying this entire video is that this racket is spectacular. That doesn't change. With serves, you're able to do so much. You can put a whole lot of power behind it if you're serving flat. You can get some crazy slice spin on it if you're going out wide, or if you're trying to slice it down the tee. I play doubles, so slicing it down the tee on the ad side is something that is kind of difficult for some rackets, for me anyway. But this racket just plows through that ball, and it forces you to just carry over. But it's not hard to swing over your shoulder. So like the RF01 Pro, it struggled to maintain the racket head speed that you needed for kick serves. This was amazing on kick serves. I mean, kicking out wide on the ad side, or kicking down the tee on the deuce side, it's a lot of spin. You'll catch balls that are above your shoulder, even if you're standing a little bit further back from the baseline, and it's just an all-around great serving frame. Now returns, I thoroughly enjoyed as well, though I do feel that returns might be a little bit weaker than if I had to rank it, it would probably be serves, ground strokes, volleys, and then returns. Not that it's a bad returning frame; it's still great, but it's kind of weird the way that this racket flexes when you are just doing like half swings and taking a ball that's coming at you when you're completely stationary and not really winding up at all. The racket does flex a little bit. However, it doesn't just die on you. It's not like a noodle. It does feel stiffer than the actual RA, and the specs will be in the description. But I know that this is actually a very flexible frame. It doesn't feel flexible. It feels very connected to the ball. It doesn't feel noodly. I don't lose the ball, and it doesn't overly flex where I feel like I'm just having to force the ball with my body. But on the returns, I had more errors on the returns, mainly just because it feels like you're adding a little bit more pop to it, and so the ball does have a tendency to sail a little bit longer. But when you're on, you're on. I mean, there was a match I played with this where I just felt like I couldn't miss. I pretty much hit every single return in, and they were deep. They weren't poopy returns where you're just basically waiting on the defensive. So I think returns are wonderful with this racket. Serves have to be one of the best attributes about this racket. That extra half inch, it matters. Size does matter, boys. So overall, I think that, yes, this is the racket of the year. Now, there is another frame that Head is basically giving out to all the really big racket reviewers, the Head Gravity Tour, the 98. It's spec'd the exact same way, just no extra half inch, and it's a 98 square inch head instead of 100. I don't know how it plays, but being that they are very similar, but the head size is 2 square inches smaller and the extra half inch is gone, I'm curious as to how it's going to play despite being the exact same specs. So if I can get my hands on that one, I will do a comparison video and I will see if there is any difference. But aside from that, if you are just an all-around player, you're seeking more control but still want to maintain some power, and you're also maybe wanting to try something that's a little bit longer, or you want to, play with a gravity, but you don't find yourself happy with the Pro and you're not exactly happy with the MP, this right here is just the perfect medium between the two. The string bed is still dense enough to have great control and great ball pocketing, but it's not dense enough to immediately turn your top spin shots into a much a much flatter shot. I think that overall, this racket does so much well that it's a jack of all trades, master of none. It's not going to be the most controlled frame, and it's not going to be the most powerful frame, but it gives you a good combination of both. It's not going to be the best serving frame. When you're talking best serving frames, we're talking, pro staffs or anything that's just pinpoint accuracy. This does require you to spin the ball a little bit more just to kind of hit your spots. But if you've got great technique and your serve is naturally fast, or you love serving flat, you can bomb serves with this racket. Just the amount of aces I was dropping with this racket was insane, and that's because normally I struggle to ace people. Even though I add weight to my rackets, I play with an old head speed from like 2013 with weight at 10 and 2, just to get it to feel like this. I only modified those rackets just so I can get it to feel like this, but nothing substitutes that extra half inch. I don't know what head did differently with this racket, because it doesn't feel like any of the other rackets in the head line with the Auxetic 2.0, but if they could make more frames like this, it would give me more reason to play with their newer frames. As of recent, this is the only frame I can say that I've tested in recent memory that really just is a memory in my head of just, I want my racket to feel and play like this. So if you have a chance to demo this, I really would. It's a Tennis Warehouse exclusive, so if you are going to demo it, please demo it at the Tennis Warehouse. You can't demo it anywhere else. I'll leave a link in the description as well to demo this. So if you do get a chance to demo it, or if you've tried the 98, please let me know, number one, how I can get a hold of one, and number two, how you liked it. Let's have a discussion in the comments. I'm all for a nice conversation. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.